Hello, gorgeous, and thank you for joining us today. I'm your host, Kim Becker, and this is Hello, Gorgeous, Everything Beauty, Cancer, and Inspiration on Society Bites Radio, social interaction for the mind and soul. Welcome to our show. I want to take a few minutes to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a motivational and inspirational speaker, an award-winning author of two books about beauty, cancer, and the amazing scope of the human spirit. I have an incredible story of faith, hope, and service to others. And I am the founder of Hello Gorgeous of Hope Incorporated, a nonprofit organization that provides red carpet experiences and head to toe surprise makeovers for women battling all cancers across the United States. I've been a hairdresser, a business owner, a national educator for more than 30 years, and through my many experiences in the for-profit and nonprofit business worlds, I've become a businesswoman, fundraiser, event planner, educator, public speaker, author, and the face of Hello Gorgeous. I received the Mom's Choice Award for my first book, Hello Gorgeous, A Journey of Faith, Love, and Hope. I am the recipient of the 2011 Spirit of Women Award and the American Cancer Society 2014 Coaches vs. Cancer Inspirational Award. And I recently received the prestigious George H.W. Bush Points of Lights Award in 2015. I wanted to come to you today and talk to you a little bit about wigs and hair substitution. You know, as a hairdresser for more than 30 years, there were several times throughout my career that I learned about a woman's cancer diagnosis before her family knew. As they explained to me the details of their cancer and the treatment that would be following their cancer diagnosis, there was always a common concern that came up time after time, and that was the loss of their hair. Sometimes these women would be more concerned of the loss of their hair than the loss of their life. Think about it. Our hair is our crowning glory. I don't know about you, but if I'm having a good hair day, I can take on the world. And if I'm having a bad hair day, nothing seems to go right. I completely understand this feeling. Last week, I went to my mom's friends to help her pick out a wig. She was diagnosed with a form of sarcoma, and we wanted to make sure that we got the wig ready so that she was prepared when her hair loss occurred. We found a real cute short wig and matched the color of the wig perfectly to the natural color of her hair. The style of the wig was much shorter than her current style, so I made the suggestion that we cut her hair to match the style of the wig, so that when we made the transition from her hair to the wig, that it was seamless. And that's what we did. My goal is to make a woman feel as normal as possible, whatever that looks like for her. So I wanted to take some time to discuss with you today hair substitutions in today's episodes. We'll talk about wigs. I'll ask you questions that will make you decide the best fit for you. In an earlier episode, we discussed that if hair loss is a side effect of your cancer treatment, that it'll begin 7 to 14 days after your first treatment. So you'll want to be prepared with whatever you choose for head covering. There are other options besides wigs, and we'll discuss those later in this episode. But let's begin with wigs. So there are a couple different types of wigs. There are many options of wigs, but the two wigs that I'd like to talk about today are the differences between a human hair wig and a synthetic hair wig. Now, a human hair wig is hair. It's a wig that's made out of hair, just like the hair that's on your head. So it feels the same. The consistency of that hair is just like the hair. If you were to run your fingers through your hair right now, that's what a human hair wig would feel like. So this particular wig has to be styled just like the hair on your head. The human hair wigs can be blown dry. They can be curled with a curling iron. A flat iron can be used on them. They can be cut with scissors. These wigs, human hair wigs, have a tendency to be a little bit heavier than a synthetic hair wig. A human hair wig can be a little bit more expensive than a synthetic hair wig. And a human hair wig will last about 9 to 12 months. Now, the question is always, how come they only last 9 to 12 months? If it's human hair, why wouldn't it last a lot longer, especially if it's going to be more expensive? Well, let's think about this. So you're taking this wig, you're going to blow dry it, you're going to curl it, you're going to use the flat iron on it, and you might not do it as often as what you use on your natural hair, like I do my hair daily. So maybe you would only style your wig once a week. But think about that after 30 weeks of styling that hair. That's about 6 months, a little over 6 months. and you've blown dried that hair, you've colored, or you've curled that hair. What would your hair look like if you went 6 months without a haircut? Over time, all of those hot implements are going to damage the ends of that wig. So you can take the wig in and have it trimmed, but you have to remember it doesn't grow back. So that's why they say that these wigs last about 9 to 12 months. And you may want to be prepared to either have a few extra layers put in it, maybe 6 months into having the wig, or even have that wig cut into a cute short style. So synthetic hair wigs. Now, a synthetic hair wig is more like doll hair. We've all had Barbie dolls, or we had the Barbie that was the beauty Barbie that we had the tray and you could put her makeup on and set her hair on curlers. That's the type of when you feel a synthetic hair wig, that's what that's going to feel like. It's going to feel more like doll hair. So these wigs, whatever style they are that they come with, that's the style that you're going to get stuck with. So if this has a part on the left side, you can't change that to a right side part. That part is going to remain on the left side. So whatever style they come in, if it's curly, it's going to remain curly. If it's straight, you really can't curl it. These wigs cannot be blown dry. They cannot be curled with a curling iron. You have to remember, like doll hair, it's basically made of plastic. So if you were to get a hot implement or anything towards or anywhere close to these wigs, they'll melt. So again, whatever style that it is that it comes in, that's the style that it's going to stay in. These wigs cannot be blown dry. They cannot be curled with a curling iron. They can be cut with scissors. They have a tendency to be a little less expensive. The synthetic hair wigs have a tendency to be more lightweight, and these wigs last about 6 to 9 months. Now, I will tell you that I have seen some amazing synthetic hair wigs that you can't tell that it's a wig. We had a woman, one of the very first makeovers that we did in the Mobile Day Spa. It was 9 years ago. We did it on St. Patrick's Day. And sometimes it's not even about the wig, it's about the right wig. So this gal was battling breast cancer. She came in to her makeover with a wig, but it just didn't do anything for her. It didn't light up her face. It was just a wig. So I went back into the back wig closet and I happened to find a wig, and it was about the same length of the wig that she came in with, but it had a little bit more bounce to it and it had some highlights to it. And I remember running into her after her visit, and she smiled at me and she said, "I have to tell you, every morning that I go through the drive-through to get my coffee in the morning, the woman that's there constantly compliments me on how cute my hair is." And she said, "And I have you to thank for that." She said, "And all I do is smile and say thank you and go on my way." Nobody could tell that that wig was a wig, but it made her feel good because it looked natural. And obviously, when you're getting a compliment on whatever it is, you want to make sure that you stick with that. So you want to make sure that you find a wig that's right for you. So when deciding a kind of wig, you want to make sure that the wig is comfortable. So again, we had a gorgeous woman that we did a makeover on and got her a wig. It was very modern, very cute. She was probably mid 50s, early 60s. And again, this wig just really brightened her up. So we did her makeover on a Friday, sent her off to lunch with her friends. Monday morning, I get a phone call from her. She's in tears. She's telling me what a great day she had and how much fun she had with her friends. And over the weekend, she was doing some cooking and she was wearing her wig, and she had forgotten that she had her wig on. And when she leaned over into the oven to pull out whatever it was that she had in the oven, the heat from the oven melted the whole front of her wig. And she was crying because she absolutely loved the wig. My response was, "That's fantastic. You forgot you had your wig on. No worries, we can get you another one." That's what I want you to feel like. When you're wearing a wig and when you're choosing a wig, you need to make sure that that wig is comfortable and that you really forget that you're wearing a wig. It needs to make sure that it's not too tight. You need to make sure that it's not too heavy, that whatever it is, that it feels as natural as it possibly can while you're going through this. So once you've decided that you do want a wig, then you need to decide if you want a human hair wig or a synthetic hair wig. So do you want something that's going to be a little bit more maintenance, that every time you wash it, you need to curl it, you have to flat iron it, you've got to blow dry it? Or do you want a synthetic hair wig where you basically wash it, you shake it out, you're going to dry it, and I always say you dry your wet wig on a 2-liter pop bottle instead of a styrofoam head, because a styrofoam head will stretch it out. So you just place that wig after you wash it on a 2-liter pop bottle, let it dry out, run a brush through it, and it's ready to go. So these have to be questions that you have to answer yourself, because nobody can answer that for you. The other thing that you need to decide is, do you want the wig to look exactly like the hair you have now, or do you want it to look a little bit different? I remember years ago as a hairdresser, I had a client that was diagnosed with lung cancer, and she was out to find a wig that looked exactly like the hair that she had. She was a beautiful woman, and she had a heavily highlighted blonde hair, and it was just about shoulder length. And she did not want anybody to know that that was a wig. And so she went to find a wig that could be styled exactly like what her hair looked like. Some women want something completely different. If they were a blonde, they want to take a shot at what a redhead would look like. Some women that have had short hair all their lives, maybe they want a wig that's long. Maybe they've got long hair, they want to try a wig that's short. So that's up to you. You get to be the one to decide what kind of look you want. I had a school teacher. She taught at a very prestigious military academy, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she wanted to make sure that her wig looked exactly like her hair. And the reason being was she didn't want her students to be concerned about her or to throw her students off because she had a different look, because of the prestige of the high school that she taught at. And so as soon as she found out that she was diagnosed with breast cancer, I went on the hunt to find a wig that looked exactly like her style. We did such a good job matching that wig that she had a colleague of hers walk up to her and say, hey, how are you feeling? Are you ever going to lose your hair? And she had been wearing the wig for 3 weeks and nobody knew. So again, these are all personal decisions that you get to make. Do you want it to look exactly like the old style that you had, or do you want to shake it up and try something new? You want to make sure the color of the wig matches your skin tone. So if it's blonde, you want to make sure that it's not a cool blonde, or it's not too warm of a blonde, that it's the right blonde that looks right on your skin tone. Same thing with reds. If you've got red hair, you want to make sure that the red's not too orange, or that it's not too much of a blue red, that it matches the skin tone as to where you're at right now, because your skin tone can change a little bit as you go through cancer treatment. And you also want to find out, and I want to answer this question for you. So the question I get is, when is the best time to choose a wig? I would say as soon as you're diagnosed with cancer, and if they give you that hair loss may be a side effect of your cancer treatment, you may want to go and start looking for a wig. So I talk about in a previous episode about when your hair will actually fall out. So it's normally 7 to 10 days after you start your cancer treatment. The chemotherapy, if hair loss is a side effect of it, 7 to 14 days after you start that treatment is when you're going to experience hair loss, if you're going to experience it. So you want to go in before you even start your chemotherapy to arrange and make sure that you've got that wig, so that as soon as your hair does to fall out, it's a seamless transition to go from your natural hair into what your wig is going to be like. And so after you get your wig, you want to take a look at it and make sure that you are putting it correctly on your head. We did a makeover at one of our affiliates, and I was there that day. It was their very first makeover, and the gal walked in and she had a wig on, and it just didn't look right. There was something that looked like it just looked a little cattywampus on her head. It didn't look like it sit right. So after we took her wig off and we washed it for her and styled it for her and gave it to her so it looked all fresh again. And what we realized is, when you're looking at the wig, there are 2 triangle-shaped pieces that should sit right in front of your ears. And once you put the wig on, you want to depress those triangle pieces so that it stays, and it kind of contours to the side of your face so that it stays in place. That young girl, nobody had ever told her how to put her wig on. She took those 2 triangle pieces and tucked them back behind her ears. She didn't know that they were supposed to go in front of her ears. So I want you to know and be aware, as soon as you get your wig, find those 2 triangle pieces and make sure that they're in front of your ear. Once they sit in front of your ear, you want to make sure that you depress those in, again, so that they go with the contour of your cheeks and it will stay fit. In the back of the wig, there's also 2 adjustable straps. Sometimes it's Velcro, sometimes it looks like a hook and eye. That will actually tighten or loosen your wig. And again, once you try it on, you need to make sure that it fits for you. Now, some people recommend a wig cap underneath a wig. I don't like a wig cap because I feel like it's too tight, and it really does feel like it's squeezing your brain out your ears. So I recommend a wig without a wig cap. And I also recommend that the wig feels comfortable and that it's tight enough that it feels like it's going to stay on your head, but it's not so tight that you can't stand to wear it. I want to make sure that you can wear it, that it's on your head, and like Cindy, you forget that you're wearing a wig. You need to make sure it's comfortable. Nobody can make those decisions for you. You're the one that when you put it on, you'll know whether it's right. You'll know whether it feels like it's where it needs to be, or maybe it needs to be tighter, or it needs to be looser. Now, what I like to do is when you put the wig on, the best way to be able to do it is to start with the front of the wig to the front of your body, right? So the bangs of the wig should be right at your chest. Grab a hold of those 2 triangle pieces that I told you about. So the wig is basically upside down. The front is to your front. You've got your thumbs on the inside of the wig, and you're basically going to flip the wig on top of your head. I recommend getting your 2 triangle pieces in place first, right above your ears, so that you're not messing with it going side to side. You know that side to side, your wig is right where it needs to be. And then you can mess with the front. Now, the front of the wig should be right where your hairline used to be. You don't want to shift it too far back, and you don't want to shift it too far forward. Now, especially when you take it in to have your stylist look at it, and if she's going to do any type of cutting at all, this is so important to make sure that your wig is exactly where it needs to be fitting, because if that wig is too far down on your forehead and your stylist goes in and starts to nip it with shears, and then she cuts the bang and it shifts back into place, those bangs may be shorter than you want them to be. And you have to remember, wigs don't grow. So you want to make sure that the front of that wig is right where your hairline is, and that it's comfortable, and that your sides are even, and that those triangle pieces are right in front of your ears, and you've depressed those in so that it's sitting right on your head where it needs to be, and that it's comfortable. The next thing that we want to talk about, or that I want to cover, is taking care of your scalp underneath your wig. So many people think that just because they don't have hair anymore doesn't mean that they need to shampoo their scalp. Well, that's not necessarily true. You're still going to have dead skin cells if it's summertime or hot where you live. You may end up sweating, and so you want to make sure that you give your hair a chance to grow back in the best that it can. And keeping that scalp clean and keeping it fresh is a great way to make sure that your hair will grow back in as soon as possible. So make sure that you're washing your hair regularly, and you want to wash your scalp regularly, and you want to make sure that you're washing your scalp with a salon approved shampoo. Now, reason being is that over-the-counter shampoos and conditioners have a lot of plastics and waxes in them. And the plastics and waxes will build up on your hair, which can make your hair be less manageable, and it can give it more of a greasy look. Well, it's the same thing with your scalp. You want to make sure that you're using a salon-approved shampoo, because you don't want the plastics and waxes that are in some of the over-the-counter products to build up on your scalp that will deter new hair from growing back in. Plus, that will also attract a lot of oil, and it can trap those dead skin cells in there instead of rinsing it off clean. If you have any hair remaining on your scalp, you want to make sure that it's dry before you put your wig on. Now, there are many people that don't want their head shaved, which is fine. There are many people that don't lose their hair during cancer treatment. They still have hair left on their head. So, of course, then you'd want to make sure that you shampoo your hair, but they still want to wear a wig. So you want to make sure that that hair underneath that wig, that it's dry before you put that wig on. You do not want to place that wig over wet hair. That will cause damage to your hair, and it can cause damage to your wig too. If you no longer have hair on your scalp, you want to make sure that you moisturize your scalp every day, and you can moisturize your scalp with the same moisturizer that you use on your face. And also, you want to make sure that your scalp breathes at night. You don't want to wear your wig. It's really not recommended that you wear your wig to bed at night. Give your scalp a rest, make sure that that can breathe. But I understand that your scalp can get cold at night. So you may want to get like a nightcap. Somebody shared with me that if you take a t-shirt and you cut the sleeve off of a t-shirt, that's almost the perfect size to wear on your head at night, and it keeps your scalp warm, but it's not too tight. It'll stay on because it is a sleeve, but there's no elastic or anything in it. And again, it'll keep your head warm at night. There are other options available for head coverings. There are scarves, there are hats, there are turbans, and there are also headbands with bangs. Now, if you're going to go with a scarf, I would recommend staying away from a silky scarf because a silky scarf can slip, especially if you don't have any hair on your head at all. The whole reason to have a scarf is to make sure that your head is protected, whether it be from the elements, being out in the sun. Maybe you don't want to wear a wig. Maybe you don't want people to know that you're bald. So I would stay away from a silky scarf. Cotton seems to work the best for scarves. Bandanas, they've got the handkerchiefs that can be made into a bandana. The cotton works really well because it's breathable. And so your scalp doesn't seem to get too hot, but yet it can also protect your scalp. Hats. You've got wide brim hats, you've got short brim hats, you've got, hats with tall crowns. Go get some different hats that are fashionable. You can tie a scarf underneath and then put a hat on top of it, or you can wear the hat alone. We've actually had some hats that have hair attached to it, that in the back there's a Velcro band that goes, and there's long hair that's attached to the hat and makes it look like and they're all blinged out. So they make it look like you've got hair when you really don't. There are turbans. There's some really nice soft turbans that may just be good for you wearing around the house. Not anything that you necessarily would want to wear out in public, but they're nice and soft and they just keep your head warm. And then there's headbands with bangs. It's actually a white band, and underneath of it is a Velcro band, and there are bangs that are Velcroed inside that band. Now, that particular band can be worn under scarves, it can be worn under hats, it can be worn under bandanas, and it gives you the illusion that you have bangs. So if you're someone that before cancer treatment, you were always used to wearing bangs, that a headband with bangs would be awesome, and you can wear that under anything else. So how to care and shampoo for your wig. I'll tell you, one of the most asked questions that I get is, how do I know that my wig needs to be shampooed? Well, a lot of times it's really hard to tell because of the fact that you may not wear it but once a week. So I don't want to tell you that you have to shampoo your hair or your wig once a week. If you wear it every day and I tell you that you need to shampoo it once a week, your wig may need to be shampooed more than once a week. So one of the best ways to be able to tell if your wig needs to be shampooed is to give it the whiff test. And when I say the whiff test, that means smell it. If the inside of your wig cap starts to smell, then you know that it's time for you to shampoo. So in the summertime, if it's hot where you live, you may need to shampoo your wig a couple of times a week if you're wearing it every day. If it's cold where you're at, maybe you only need to shampoo your wig every other week. So that's a really good way for you to be able to tell whether your wig needs a test. It just depends on when you're wearing it. So I wanted to share with you a quick story and a great resource. When my sister was diagnosed with cancer, I had the opportunity to go with her to her treatments. And as I sat there, I thought, it'll be okay. We can get her through this. We can keep the visible signs of her side effects or of her cancer treatment to a minimum. We can get her through this. But as I looked around and I saw that there were so many women that didn't have a sister that had the knowledge that I had gained from performing all these makeovers on women battling cancer, I decided that it was time to write a book, and it would be a great resource guide for any woman going through cancer. Our book is called I Promise to Put My Lipstick On When I Get There, The Red Carpet Guide to Staying Gorgeous Through Your Cancer Treatment. This is a how-to guide for every woman battling any type of cancer. It teaches you scarf tying techniques, how to draw your eyebrows on, and there are videos with with many of the different modules that are in there. There are videos that show you. You can get these books on Kindle, or you can find them on our website at www.hellogorgeous.org. Well, we're almost out of time, so I wanted to say thank you for joining us today, and I hope that this episode has been helpful. If you have any questions or comments or you'd like more information on Hello Gorgeous, feel free to contact me at kbecker at hellogorgeous.org or visit our website at www.hellogorgeous.org. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and our YouTube channel has many helpful videos. Thank you for joining me today on Hello Gorgeous, Everything Beauty, Cancer, and Inspiration. I'm your host, Kim Becker. And until next time, stay gorgeous.
Another beautiful day, walking in the sunshine, spending the time with you. Last night we had a good time, dancing in the moonlight and loving the night away. I can't imagine what it'd be like. I can't imagine what it'd be like. I can't imagine what it'd be like without you. I can't imagine that.